Student suicides in India. Context: the Supreme Court has established a task force to address student mental health concerns and prevent suicides in higher educational institutions. More on news. The court noted that student suicides have surpassed instances of farmer suicides due to agrarian distress. Um, the Supreme Court made these remarks in an order challenging a Delhi High Court ruling. The Delhi High Court had earlier dismissed pleas by the parents of two scheduled caste IIT Delhi students who reportedly died by suicide. About the task force, the 10-member task force is headed by the former Supreme Court Judge Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt. Mandate of the task force: investigate causes, identify factors like ragging, discrimination, harassment, and mental health stigma behind student suicides. Mm, evaluate um, evaluate frameworks, assesses existing laws and policies, recommending improvements, provide recommendations, strengthen support systems to foster inclusive academic environments and equal opportunities. Causes of student suicide in India: academic pressure, intense competition, and high expectations from parents and institutions often lead to mental health issues. Mental health issues, lack of awareness and stigma surrounding mental health can lead to untreated depression, anxiety, and other disorders. 1 in 7 young people ages 15 to 24 in India experiences poor mental health, including symptoms of depression and disinterest. Uh, Data point: total student suicides 13,444, 7.6% of all suicides in India. Increase in student suicides 2013 to 22, 64% rise compared to the previous decade. Five states with the highest cases: Maharashtra 1,764, Tamil Nadu 1,416, Madhya Pradesh 1,340, Uttar Pradesh 1,060, Jharkhand 824. Comparison with farmer suicides: 11,290 farmer suicides in 2022, less than student suicides. Family issues: dysfunctional family dynamics, including domestic violence or financial instability, can contribute to stress for students. Family pressure to perform can result in students feeling trapped. Social isolation, bullying, or peer pressure can lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation among students. Lack of counseling services, insufficient access to mental health resources in schools can leave students without necessary support. India has only 0.75 psychiatrists per mm, 1 lakh people, far below the desired ratio of 3 is to 1 lakh. Um, Economic factors: financial burden of education and expectations to support family can lead to despair. Mm, Substance abuse, involvement with drugs or alcohol can exacerbate mental health. problems and lead to impulsive actions. Way forward to curb student suicide, strengthening anti-ragging laws despite existing bans. Um, incidents continue. The government must enforce stricter regulations and compliance, expanding mental health initiatives, increased funding for mental health programs in educational institutions, including dedicated helplines, is crucial. Mm, Strengthening anti-drugging laws, expanding mental health initiatives, open communication with children. Parents should encourage discussions about academic pressure and mental health, avoiding excessive pressure on career choices. Enhance counseling services. Institutions should ensure accessible counseling and establish peer support programs. Implement stress management programs, integrate programs into the curriculum, focusing on mindfulness and coping strategies. The mindfulness in schools program implemented in several schools in England shows that students who participated in mindfulness training demonstrated better focus, emotional regulation, and reductions in anxiety. Conclusion: the rising incidence of student suicides in India is a pressing issue that necessitates collaborative action from governments, parents, and educational institutions. By fostering a supportive environment and addressing the root causes of distress, it's possible to combat this crisis and promote mental well-being among students. Here, what is this? Dinner with DM initiative in Kota. This innovative program allows students in distress to meet with district administration officials for support and counseling. Dinner with DM initiative in Kota. Draft Umid, understand, motivate, manage, empathize, empathize, empower, develop. National Mental Health Program to 24/7, toll free helpline, um, initiatives to curb student suicide. Monodarpan, Ministry of Education, Mental Health and Wellbeing, National Suicide Prevention Strategy in SPS. Um, SPS, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare reduce suicide mortality by 10%. Okay, next, right against disability-based discrimination. The Supreme Court has declared that the right against disability-based discrimination should be considered a fundamental right. Mm, the ruling mm, mm, The ruling came in response to petitions challenging certain provisions of the Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan Judicial Service rules, which were found to be discriminatory. Key highlights of the Supreme Court judgment: the court observed that disability-based discrimination violates the constitutional principles of equality and non-discrimination. Eligibility of visually impaired candidates for judicial services. The court ruled that visually impaired candidates are eligible to participate in the selection process for judicial services. Data point: PWD population 2 point um, 2.21%, 2.68 crore as per census 2011. Are PWD Act 2016 recognizes um, of 21 types of disabilities, including visual and hearing impairment and intellectual disability, cerebral palsy, and dwarfism, striking down discriminatory provisions. The court struck down Rule 6A of the Madhya Pradesh Judicial Service Rules 1994 to the extent that it excluded visually impaired persons from applying for judicial posts. Principles, mm, principles of reasonable accommodation. Principle of reasonable accommodation. The court reiterated that the principle of reasonable accommodation, as enshrined in international conventions and the RPWD Act 2016, mandates that accommodations be prepared to PWDs to assess their eligibility. Accommodations to be provided to PWDs to assess their eligibility. Mm, affirmative action and inclusive framework. The court highlighted the need for affirmative action by the state to create an inclusive framework for PWDs about disability-based discrimination. Disability-based discrimination refers to unfair treatment, exclusion, or denial of rights and opportunities to individuals based on their physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory disabilities. It occurs when a person with a disability is treated differently or unfavorably compared to others in similar situations. Mm, mm, Challenges faced by persons with disabilities (PWDs) in India. Social stigma and discrimination. PWDs face societal exclusion due to misconceptions about their capabilities. Only 36% of PWDs, person with disabilities, are employed in SSO 2018 as per SSO 2018, and literacy rates among PWDs are 52.2% compared to 74% of general population census 2011. Accessibility issues in infrastructure and transport. Many public buildings, spaces, and transportation systems in India are not designed to be accessible. This includes lack of ramps, lifts, and accessible toilets. As per a 2018 report by the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, only 3% of buildings in India were found to be fully accessible. Limited access to information and communication. Persons with visual and hearing impairments often face challenges in accessing information and communication due to the lack of braille signage, sign language, uh, sorry, braille signage, sign language, and sign language interpretation, um, and audio descriptions and audio descriptions. Policy and implementation gaps. Despite the RPWD Act 2016, many states have not fully implemented accessibility norms. Gender and rural disparities face double discrimination. 44% of PWDs are women. Census 2000 as per census 2011, with lower literacy with lower literacy 45% and employment rates over over 70% of PWDs live in villages where access to rehabilitation services is minimal. Um, Way forward for empowering persons with disabilities in India, strengthening legal and policy implementation, ensure mandatory compliance with accessibility norms, in public infrastructure, education, and employment. Mm, Ensure mandatory compliance with accessibility norms in public infrastructure, education, and employment. Enforce mandatory accessibility audits and penalties for non-compliance. Enhancing accessibility in public infrastructure. Make all government buildings, transport, and digital platforms, websites, apps fully accessible. The Accessible India campaigns Sugam Bharat Abhiyan should be expanded with stricter deadlines, promoting inclusive education and employment, train educators in sign language, braille, and assistive technologies for inclusive classrooms, encourage the promoting inclusive education and employment, train educators in sign language, um, sign language, braille, and assistive technologies for um, inclusive classrooms, encourage private companies to adopt disability inclusive hiring policies with tax incentives, mm, mm, raising awareness and changing social attitudes, use media to challenge stereotypes and highlight success stories of PWDs, teach students about disability rights and empathy from an early age, strengthening healthcare um, and social security, ensure hospitals have accessible equipment, sign language interpreters, and priority services for people. um, Strengthening healthcare, raising awareness and changing social attitudes, use media to challenge stereotypes and highlight success stories of PWDs, teach students about disability rights and empathy from an early age, strengthening healthcare and social security, ensure hospitals have accessible equipment, sign language interpreters, and priority services for PWDs, expand the disability pension scheme and provide subsidized assisted devices. Conclusion: while laws like the RPWD um, RPWD Act 2016 and Supreme Court judgments, e.g., the recent ruling on disability based discrimination, aim to empower PWDs, deep rooted social attitudes, infrastructure gaps, and poor policy enforcement remain major hurdles. affirmative action, awareness campaigns, and stricter implementation are needed for true inclusion. Okay. Measure poor policy enforcement remains major hurdles. Affirmative action, awareness campaigns, and stricter implementation are needed for true inclusion. Here, ASHA workers in India. The Union Health Minister announced the accredited social health activist ASHA workers will receive enhanced remuneration. About ASHA workers, ASHAs are female volunteers, from local communities trained to promote health awareness and improve access to healthcare services. Mm, their primary role was to act as a bridge between the community and the healthcare system. Origin: ASHA workers were introduced as part of the National Rural Health Mission in 2005. The scheme was later extended to urban areas under the National Urban Health Mission in 2013. Mitanin program. The ASHA program was based on Chhattisgarh's successful Mitanin program, in which a community worker looks after 50 households. Mm, a community worker looks after 50 households. Government of Chhattisgarh started Mitanin program in 2002. Mm, um, Anganwadi workers. Anganwadi workers are functionaries under the Integrated Child Development Scheme (ICDs). They manage Anganwadi centers, which provide child care and maternal care services. About ANM workers, auxiliary nurse midwives. ANMs are female health workers based at health sub-centers or primary health centers. They are essential frontline workers under the National Rural Health Mission. Implementation: the ASHA scheme is currently operational in all states and union territories except Goa. Training and collaboration: ASHA workers receive training from Anganwadi workers and auxiliary nurse midwives to perform their duties effectively. State mandates: states are required to employ at least one ASHA worker per 1,000 people. In tribal, hilly, and desert regions, the ratio may be adjusted based on workload, with one ASHA worker per habitation. Mar and Jomi tribe. Mar and Jomi tribe. The Mar and Jomi tribe. Jomi tribal leaders in Manipur have agreed to cooperate for restoring peace after recent clashes about Jomi tribe. Jomi refers to the Jo people, an ethnic group including Mizo, Kuki, and Chin communities living in India, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, Assam, Burma, and Bangladesh. They are historic settlers for the mountainous India-Myanmar border region and speak Kukis dialects within the Kuki-Chin language family. Festivals: Chapchar Kut, celebrated after Jhum clearing with traditional dances and feasts. Religion and beliefs: traditionally animists worshipping nature spirits. Jomi people are now predominantly Christian, mainly Baptist and Presbyterian. about Hamar tribe, also known as Mar tribe, H will be silent, also known as Mar tribe or Mar. The Mar are part of Chin Kuki Mizo ethnic group, recognized as a scheduled tribe under India's sixth schedule. Um, Sixth schedule, living in Manipur, Mizoram, Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, and Bangladesh's Chittagong hill tracts. They originated from Xinjiang, possibly in China, as noted in folk songs, and speak in Mar dialects of the Kuki-Chin Mizo language family. Festivals Sikpui Rui, a post-harvest festival featuring dances, music, and community bonding. Occupation primarily cultivators practicing slash and burn chum agriculture, slash and burn agriculture, that is chum agriculture. Housing, build houses on hilltops using wooden planks. Social structure, clan system, societies organized into clans, each each with its own dialect. Village chief called Lal, whose leadership and directives are followed by all. Coach Rajbongsis. The Coach Rajbongsis is one of the largest community in western Assam and northern West Bengal, have been demanding scheduled tribe status for decades. Who are Coach Rajbongsis? The Coach Rajbongsi is also known as Rajbongsi. Rajbongsi and Rajbongsi are a community spread across India, Lower Assam, North Bengal, and Eastern Bihar, Nepal, Terai region, Bangladesh, Rangpur division, and parts of North Bangladesh, Bhutan. They have historically associated themselves with the Koch dynasty. The word Rajbongsi literally means royal community. They have a rich culture, mm, rich culture. Um, Heritage and their own language they speak Rajbongsi language. Other names of the language are Kamtapuri Rajbongsi, Golpariya, and Tajpuri. Religion, originally they practiced animism, later followed Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma. A social section practiced Christianity. A small section practiced Christianity. Senior Citizens Commission. Senior Citizens Commission. Kerala has become the first state in India to pass a law to establish a Senior Citizens Commission. About Senior Citizens Commission, it is a statutory body established under the Kerala State Senior Citizens Commission Act 2025. Purpose: safeguard the rights and dignity of senior citizens, provide welfare measures for the elderly population, um, address issues like neglect, exploitation, and loneliness. um, Functions: offer a platform for senior citizens to raise concerns, develop and implement policies focused on elderly welfare, promote rehabilitation programs and social inclusion for inclusion of senior citizens, advocate for skill utilization of senior citizens for societal development.